want to see if we are going to actually get that dump. 874.96. We're almost there. We're almost cracking this purple line. We're up $352 at this moment. Let's talk about what's going on in the market, because when I take a look over on the S&P 500 traders, I start getting a little nervous here. Could this be the start of a reversal? Could this be the start of the top where we start dropping back on down? Now, let's just take a little trip through memory lane here, team. I know when we take a look over on the S&P 500, I've been in the stock market for the last 10 years straight. And I can say, back in October of 2022, when we were all the way down towards 350, I say to myself at this point, man, why didn't I buy in on the S&P 500 at the price of 350? When we were this low, why didn't I jump in? Have you ever said that to yourself? Maybe you said that when we were back on down towards around 410 back this October. Could you have said to yourself, man, why the heck did I not jump in? Well, traders, I know that there's going to be a lot of investors when we do get a pullback. And guess what? We will have a pullback at some point. I'm not a fortune teller. I cannot say the exact area when a pullback's going to happen. But what I can tell you is that when the S&P 500 does have a pullback, I guarantee there is going to be people that say, man, how stupid was I? Why didn't I get a put contract at 510? Why didn't I get a put contract at 515? We're all the way back on down to 480. So there's always the woulda, coulda, shoulda. But let's try to take advantage of it. If we know we're at record highs, there's a great chance that we could be pulling back in the near future. If we're at new lows, there's a great chance that we should be getting a dip buy and bouncing back on up. But it seems like everyone's always a day behind, a week behind, a month behind, a quarter behind, where they say to themselves, man, why did I jump in when it's going up and then it goes down? And then when it's going down, I jump in on puts and it starts going on up. We don't always just have to go with momentum. We could also look for reversals as well. And the S&P 500 did have a pretty big red day over on Friday. Now, let's talk about that Friday. Let's talk about this red day. We saw the S&P 500 hit a brand new 52-week high on Friday. We were all the way up to the price of $518.20. And by the end of the day, we were all the way down towards $511. Yes, guys, we fell $7 on the S&P 500. Now, that is a very strong move. $7 drop on the S&P 500. Woo! On average, the S&P 500 maybe moves about $1.50, but to see a $7 drop from top to bottom and now to see it even lower down towards around 510, that is showing that we have a lot of negative momentum at this time. Now, what else did we see? We also saw that Nvidia got crushed. Now, Nvidia was the #1 leader on what brought down the market. Nvidia had its biggest red day I think we have ever seen on Nvidia. Now, how big was this drop? We went from the price of $974 and we fell in after hours all the way down to $850. Yes, traders, on Friday, in the single day, we have fallen $125 on the day. How crazy is that? $125 drop. From the time period of 10:30 to the time period of 11:30, we dropped nearly $100 straight down in that time period for that 1 hour in the morning. That is pretty nuts to be thinking about. That is pretty wild to be thinking about how big NVDA dropped. So going into today, I want you guys to think right now, what is your thought process? Are we going to see a dip buy and a bounce play? Or are we going to see negative momentum continue to push all the way on down lower and lower and lower? So when I'm taking a look over on NVDA, from my experience, this is what I see. I see that momentum is obviously very strong. If that's momentum on the upside or if that's momentum on the downside. And with NVDA having this $125 drop, I do think momentum is going to carry over into today. And I do think we are going to see a drop at the start of the day. Now, with a drop at the start of the day does not mean we're going to crash another $100. I think we are going to fall down right above the 13 EMA. If we take a look here, we can see the 13 EMA. Now let's just delete the 50-day moving average. Let's delete the 200-day moving average and just have our 13 EMA line here. Now, if you're wondering, Deck, why you use the 13 EMA, it's the most popular EMA out there. 13 and 9 are the most popular EMAs out there. So I'm just going to delete the 50-day for a second. I'm going to delete the 200-day moving average out there. And let's take a look at the 13 EMA together. Does anyone notice anything funny about the 13 EMA? Well, it seems like every time we come down to 13 EMA, we bounce off of it. You can see bounce, 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 bounce. You're underneath it, little resistance, bounce, bounce. And you can see across the board here, traders, we are consistently bouncing and staying next to this 13 EMA. You guys can also see we came on down, bounced off of it. I think we're going to come on down probably somewhere into the 830s, 840s today. I think we're going to get a bounce play somewhere right around this orange line here. I think that we are going to come on down, get a little bit of a dip buy and bounce play, and then I think buyers are going to move in. Let's be honest here. It seems like every time we've ever had a dip buy, buyers have been so resilient and have just bought it right on up. Am I right? It seems like every pullback we've ever had, buyers come flying on in. It seems like every single time the market drops, buyers come on in on dip buy opportunities. It doesn't seem like people are, shorting the market that are winning. It seems like people are taking profits. So I think Nvidia, even though we had a huge sell-off, I think it's just because people are taking profits as we come up near $1,000. Now, I do think we're going to have some weak hands today. I think there's going to be some scared traders at the start of the day that didn't sell on Friday that are definitely going to drive this down a little bit lower. But I do think we will get a very nice dip buy right around that 840 mark. So 840 region is what I'm looking for a call contract today to be able to get a bounce and start moving ourselves back up even higher. Looking for momentum to carry over at the very beginning and then slowly fade out probably at around like 10 o'clock or so. So Nvidia, that's what I'm watching. Same exact idea over on the S&P 500. When I take a look over on the S&P 500 here, traders, we can see that we're inside a very nice channel. You can see that this channel has bounce play, bounce play, bounce play, bounce play, top resistance, top resistance, top resistance, top resistance, top resistance, and these bounces are going to be happening right at the area of 508, and the 13 EMA is at 508.20. So we have 508 massive support over on the S&P 500 from this uptrade channel, and we have 508 top resistance going across the board. Watch for a bounce and a bounce and a bounce and a bounce, and most likely we're going to have a bounce right here. So let's just be honest, from the things that I'm saying, am I taking crazy pills? Am I talking randomly? Am I just making things up as I go? Or can we see for the past 2 months straight, every time we've come down to this purple line, we've had a bounce play. Bounce, 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 bounce. I'm going to assume that we're going to have another bounce right here, just like we had top resistance for the last 4 months in a row. Just like when we take a look over on the Nvidia, we have always bounced off the 13 EMA. These are just common sense plays. I'm not trying to be Nostradamus and predict the market, and say exactly what's going to happen. I'm just playing what the chart is telling me and what I think makes sense. That's all I want to do. Keep it simple. Simplicity. I like to bring things down to a very simple level to make sure everyone can follow and everyone can understand. Let's see this go all the way on down towards, again, the low 840s is what I'm thinking for a possible first dip buy of the day. Now this is, starting to drop pretty good right away. I want to see that 840 region. And then, get that possible dip. It's probably going to get a little dip by, I would say, off that 851 mark, but I want to see everything keep on going lower. I'm putting SPY on the bottom level too, so we can keep our eyes peeled over on the SPY as well. SPY came on down towards the low of the day of 510.36. Guys, we're getting low right now. We are getting low 845 so far. We came on down to 845, 841. Are we going to keep getting a little bit weaker? Guys, so right now I'm watching this extremely closely. 843. Team, I'm going to do one contract starting on off, one contract here on the call side, one contract just in case we do start getting that dip buy. But as I stated, I do like right around or right above that 13 EMA. You can see we are trying to get a little bit of momentum back towards that upside and seeing if this is going to be able to hold on up that 841 mark, try to get back up into the 860s, 870s. We only have one contract right here at this moment, but it is, again, I still think a very solid entry. Currently sitting with a $300 profit right off the rip here, and if we can get a nice bounce right back up towards 860 plus. I mean, traders, that would be a great way to kind of kick off this day and a great start to kick off this day. Nice big pullback, trying to get the bounce play back on up right here. If we can get back up to 860, 860 area, which is the open on the day, we could be able to make some great money. We got to re-break that 850 mark and kind of take on off here. I'm thinking, on this play over on Nvidia, any sort of pullback, buyers are going to eat up. Any sort of pullback, buyers are going to come flying on in. Any sort of pullback, traders are going to say, hey, Deck, let's get involved in on this play. So it's really, big pullback, and I think traders are going to try to eat this play on up every single time. So, I mean, we're up $400 at this moment. We're still looking for this one to squeeze back above that 855 mark if we can. And we had a nice big drop so far. If we go back to a 1 minute time frame right here, a nice big pullback, looking for a spike maybe all the way back on up towards around that VWAP. So far, we're still holding that 850 mark. We're up $352 at this moment. 850 still trying to hold, but we're not, getting that monster spike just yet. Traders, starting on off here, I'm just going to lock in my gains starting on off. I'm going to take $310 in profit. It's not getting as big of a bounce as I just want, so I'm just going to start off with a $310 profit. Nvidia is getting a little bit of that pullback. We do have that 877 possible put contracts. See if this thing is going to be able to drop and fall. Look, we are starting to fall back on down towards that 874 support line. Possible crack of 874. Things start getting weaker. We just saw the spike right around 1030. Now looking for a little bit of a drop back on down. I am actually jumping in over on puts, and let's see if we get a little bit of that weakness and start fading all the way back on down to the purple line. Start getting that fade and start getting that drop. I'm going to probably just hold this in case we get a nice dump, but I'm going to probably be adding onto this, anywhere that any pops. Not going to be adding at lows. I'll be looking to add on any sort of pops to see if we are going to just keep on holding this uptrend. And the crack of that uptrend is where we're going to probably see the biggest sell-off. 876 here, team. I'm going to do one more contract up high here. 2 contracts total now. Looking for my drop on down. Taking a look, team. It really comes on down to that 10-minute time frame as well. 10-minute time frame, I don't want to see a confirmation candle above this area. So for instance, a confirmation candle would be if we ever started like at 1050, if we were ever above like 882 or something. 882, something along that area, that would be showing that there's a confirmation candle there. So we do want to see if we can get rejected, start fading, start falling, start dropping a little bit more. I'm going to add one more contract here on my put side, and let's see if this thing can keep on fading, down towards new lows. That is obviously the goal, to be able to go back on down towards that, 860-ish mark. We have a little micro trend line, as you guys can see right here. We got a crack underneath 875. Crack underneath 875, fall back down to 869. Crack 869, we could really get weaker. I'm slightly down at this moment, but I'm still holding tight at this time because I want to see if this is, just going to be a little pop and still fade itself back on down even lower, especially as we are near that 885 mark, especially that we have not been able to hold. And let's see if the S&P 500, can stay above that VWAP and stay above 510. So I'm okay holding a little bit. I'm okay holding a little bit here. I'm not adding though. I'm not adding at this moment, but I am holding a little bit. Trying to get the crack here. Trying to get a little bit of fade here. Trying to get a little bit of dump here. Trying to get a little bit of that crack. Very, very close to see if we can get that fade and sell off here. Probably have a new little downtrend starting to form here. Got some good things going our way at the moment, team. We want to see this thing, fade underneath that trend line. Keep on dumping. Fade on down towards that, purple line now. So let's, fade on down underneath that purple line now. Let's keep on, getting weaker here. If we can, keep on getting weaker, keep on fading, keep on dropping, and let's go all the way on down towards the trend line. Let's see if we can keep getting weaker. Guys, we got our first little micro trend line crack. We have the purple line next. Crack of the purple line at 875. We have the VWAP in store. Here comes the purple line touch. Notice this is going to be a tough area to break, team. This is where we had a bounce here this morning. We had a bounce here earlier at around 10 o'clock, and this is our next bounce. So yes, there will be traders that are number 1, covering their puts right here, and number 2, buying right here. So there are 2 areas that are going to be tough to be able to break through, which is going to be at this 875 because people are going to be covering puts that just got in, let's say at 887 or 886, and there's going to be people that are going to be buying at 875, 876 because they're looking to buy off this line. I am still looking for the dump and the crack underneath down towards the VWAP and see this thing get weak and actually make my money on the day. So we're almost back in the green. You got to crack 875 for me to get into the green. 874.96, we're almost there. We're almost cracking this purple line. Come on, we want to see that big red candle all the way down towards like 868 now. Let's just get that, end of lunch, end of the morning market sell-off. End of the morning market sell-off. Dump on down towards some lows. See if this thing can go on down towards the 860s and we can start making a little bit of true money on this day. Right, so we want to see, this 868, 869, we got the VWAP as the next kind of main support line. We are obviously cracking the trend line here. So we are finally cracking the trend line at this moment, starting to get that main drop and starting to get that main sell-off. So let's see here, guys. VWAP is at 869 at this time. Let's see if we can get another $3 drop. VWAP's going to be hard to break, but I even think the VWAP will break. But can we get another $3 drop on down? We're up $340 at this time. We're currently up $600 on the day now. So let's see if we can crack underneath, 872, 871, even 870s and see a couple 860s. So there it comes 872, cracking this main uptrend on the day. Main uptrend on the day starting to crack. Here we go, $430 on the day. Now we're starting at 871, starting to dump, guys. VWAP should be coming up soon. $551, 634. There's the VWAP touch right here. And guys, let's lock up at the VWAP right here. Make 600. And guys, $854 on the day. Pya! 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 So the S&P 500 at this moment is starting to get weaker. And we are watching to see, is that going to be able to correlate over towards, Nvidia getting weaker as well. Traders, we are getting a little bit of fade. I told you I'm doing one contract here. I'm doing one contract for the possible dump. I want to see if we are going to actually get that dump. Fade on down. 870 put contract, one contract. March 15th is my expiration. See if we can stay underneath that VWAP area. I'm only doing one contract here. I'm not going to hold super long if it's not working out either. I want to see that thing crack that VWAP. Crack 869.40. Right now you can see the bids are at 869.57. VWAP is at 869.40. Gotta go. There you go. 869s. I like that. Let's keep on going, guys. Keep on going. Let's get the dump. I'm going to add one more contract. 2 contracts total. See if we can actually dump off. 2 contracts total. Looking for the actual dump and sell off here. Going to take profits once I'm up maybe $200 to $300 if we can actually get the sell off down. Guys, here we go. Up $73, $73. Let's keep on fading. Let's get the nice big red candle down to like $865. $133, $158, $163. Let's keep on going. Let's get one more little fade here. Let's get the crack underneath 867. Crack of it. There we go. $203. Take profits. There you go, guys. $1,000 on the day. $1,000 day. Let's go, baby. $1,017 on the day, babe. That's what we do. That's how I do it. Making that profit, making that money. I'm going to do one more contract up high here. 2 contracts total now. We have a little micro trend line, as you guys can see right here. Currently sitting with a $300 profit. So we're almost back in the green. Right now you can see the bids are at 869.57.